what is ketosis? Ketosis is a state where your body, only your body really, well I mean, nothing else but your body utilizes ketones for fuel instead of glucose. The only exception really is your neurons and subsequently your brain because they need glucose. And this is only achieved after being in a in a carbohydrate state, a starved state for like 1 to 2 weeks. And so this is when your ketones become active, and your ketones basically break down fatty acids into energy. Fatty acids come from fat. Fat is a storage for energy. And the thing is, you still need to eat some carbohydrates because your neurons and brain need glucose. And the thing is, your body cannot convert fatty acids into glucose. So you need some carbohydrates. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. You don't need carbohydrates. You need either carbohydrates or proteins because proteins can also be converted into glucose. So, you can't just eat only fat. You need other things. Unless you want to just completely destroy all your muscles. I mean, even if you aren't fitness interested, muscles are good to have if you want to move. I'm just saying. Okay, anyway. So, why do you lose weight on keto? Like any weight loss, it's all about calories in, calories out. You cannot go against the laws of thermodynamics. You cannot. You're losing weight because you're in a calorie deficit. That's the simplest thing there is. Someone's having fun. And the thing is, you lose weight on keto. Well, initially you have a pretty massive weight drop in the first 1 or 2 weeks because your body is using up all its glycogen, and so glycogen is a storage of glucose, and so it's 1 part glucose per 3 part water, which means that per 1 pound of glucose stored, you store 3 pounds of water, and so from that you can imagine that your body expends a lot of water when you use up glucose, and so that's why you have your initial weight loss. And then subsequently, keto is successful in the long term because many foods that are high in calories are carbohydrate dense, and so if you avoid carbohydrate dense, you're avoiding high calorie foods inadvertently. And this is really the main reason. You're avoiding candy, desserts, ice cream, cookies, brownies, things with the sugar. And some other upsides are some people will feel less hungry, so that will also contribute to losing weight. You might have less brain fog due to low carbohydrates. You might have stabler energy levels due to no insulin crashes because you're not consuming many carbohydrates at all. But on the other hand, you aren't as hyper. You won't be as excited. You'll be more mellow. So say this is your top energy levels and this is your bottom. You'll be more so in the middle range. You won't go up to the highest. You won't go down to the lowest. You'll just relatively be in the middle. So what are some downsides of keto? Well, the first is you're eating barely any vegetables or fruits, so you're going to miss a lot of micronutrients. And you also might get constipated because of low fiber. So, take that into note. In addition, you won't have any starchy carbohydrates, which really limits in between meal satiety. So there's 2 types of satiety. So there's post-meal, right after meal, and then in between meal. So in between meal is mostly dependent on slow digesting foods, so like starchy carbohydrates, slow digesting proteins, and the such. While post meal is mostly determined by, I guess, the foods that you're eating. So high fat foods are usually quite satiating. High protein meals are usually also satiating. High fiber foods also quite satiating when eating them. So you usually feel more hungry in between meals if you go keto. And the thing is, keto still won't necessarily work for you to lose weight. It isn't a magic pill. It's still, losing weight is still calories in, calories out. And if you eat the same amount of calories or more calories on keto, you won't lose weight and you might even gain weight. And the thing is, if you're using keto as an excuse and you're substituting desserts for similar keto versions, such as keto full fat ice cream, keto, you're not doing keto right. At least in my opinion. You can eat keto ice cream, but if your main purpose to doing keto is to just make yourself feel better by eating keto ice cream and saying, oh, it's healthier and that's the only reason that I'm doing keto, I don't think that's a good reason to do keto. Anyway, keto is also quite expensive. Like you'll be eating mostly fats and proteins are already pretty expensive. And the thing is, with like a lot of keto products, they're also quite expensive. The only thing is like not expensive is like probably like fats. So keto is pretty expensive. It's probably, I think it's cheaper than going carnivore, but it's still quite expensive compared to like a diet of every food group. And also, depending on what you eat, your blood lipids may be elevated because of the excessive saturated fats and cholesterol. So get your healthy fats in mostly. Be careful. And finally, many restaurants won't accommodate for your dietary needs, although there are restaurants that are changing that. But particularly small restaurants, they won't care. Alright, they will make food taste good so they can retain customers. And I guess one last thing, I guess it's just a point that if you think going keto is going to be the magic pill that's going to stimulate your weight loss, you're right, it will stimulate weight loss in the first week, but not fat loss. It's not like going keto will automatically make you lose fat. You lose weight from water, but not fat, primarily. It just isn't a magic pill. And those who say that it is are lying to you. It's always just calories in, calories out. That's all it is. The second law of thermodynamics, I believe. Keto is successful because a lot of the foods that we eat are extremely high in carbohydrates and tasty, full of sugar. And when we avoid that, it's kind of natural that we would be eating less calories. That's That's my reasoning as to primarily why keto is successful.